A Garmin watch or cycling computer is pretty much of a staple in any endurance athlete's equipment. But as a coach, I oftentimes get the question of how these watches should be set up to best utilize them. Or I'll be out at a workout and we'll be in the middle of a specific interval and I will ask the athlete what pace they're at based on their watch, and they won't know because it's not on their screen. I also will be studying athlete data files, and we'll get to a certain day, and instead of one clean file on their Training Peaks account, what I'll find like 10 different files because they started and stopped their watch so many times because that watch is not set up correctly. So because of this, I want to spend some time today just going over how I recommend you set up your Garmin device for essentially two different uses. Now, there are other ways to do this, and there's additional uses that you might want to set up your watch for, but there's two core uses that I like for my athletes to set their Garmin watch up for. Those two are if you are going out and doing a recovery workout or more of a long workout, you want to see certain things on that watch. On the other hand, if you are doing some kind of interval-based speed work or something like that, then you want more of a setup that favors and gives you the information that you need within each of those intervals. So I'm going to take this time today and I'm going to show you how to set up your watch appropriately to be able to get the most utilization out of that watch. So like I said, there are two different modes that I utilize on my watch to at various times when I'm training. The first is just for a steady run. So this could be a long run, a recovery run, and when I say run, this could also relate to a bike or even a swim. Or something else for that matter. So when I'm doing a steady run, what I'm really looking for is average pace. And so let me just show you what you need to do, what I think it should look like for that type of workout, and also how to change it. So if we go right here, and there's a lot of different models of watches out there. Most of them, for the most part, work the same way. You're going to go into menu. You're going to go to activity settings and data screens. So once you get into there, you can see the various screens that are set up for that watch. And so what this means, different screens mean that screen one is what you're going to see when you first go start a workout. You're going to see this, and then you can scroll down to a screen two, and that's going to have some additional information. So on screen one, I like to set up something for a steady, long, or recovery run, anything that's not going to have intervals in it. And then on screen two, I like to set up something that is specific to intervals. And then you'll notice you can set up 3, 4 screens, but I've got those off. You see that off? That means that I don't want to see those screens because I don't need any additional information over what is on screen 1 and 2. Now, there have been some situations when I would want those other screens, but for today's purposes, I want to simplify it. So once we go into screen 1, you can see this layout. Now, I use all 4 fields, and that means that I want to see 4 different metrics on the screen at one time. You can also change this to 3, 2. You can do whatever you want. You have 1 field if you want. So if you go in here, you can see everything that I have on the screen. Now, if I go down, I can change this to how many to less fields if I would like. There we go. So that's 3 fields. That's 2 fields, that's 1 field, or I can go back to 4 fields. For the purposes of the day, we're going to look at having all 4 fields. Now, for my steady runs or my steady bikes, what I like to have on there is distance. I like to have my timer so that I know how long I've been running as well as how far I've been running. I like to know what my average pace is. Current pace, someone can make an argument that they like to see that on there as well. It changes so quickly that I would rather, for a steady run, I don't want to be looking at my pace nonstop. I just want to kind of get a sense of where I'm at. So I think average pace works for what I need. And then the last thing I'll have on here is heart rate, and that is current heart rate, because I want to see what I am at that moment. Because heart rate lags, I'm less interested in what my average heart rate is. I want to know where I am at that moment, and so that I can make decisions based on that. So for my steady runs, these are the 4 metrics that I'm looking for. It's pretty simple. If you are not set up like this, all you have to do is go down and you can see field 1, field 2, field 3, field 4. So if you want 4 fields, you first have to change it under the layout, and then you can go into each field and change what is actually in that field. So for the distance field, or for that top field that I had, you have a variety of different options. So you can go into timer, and this is how you can pick the various timer type metrics, like lap time, steady time. But I had chose distance, and then just choosing from there distance, just a straight up distance, and that's going to calculate distance from the start to the finish of my workout. So I just put distance back in there. I have down here that timer. I have down here average pace, and I have down here heart rate, as I already showed you. But you can change each of those right in there if that's not what you have currently. Now, on screen 2, I also have that one on. I also have 4 fields, and you can see each of those fields has been chosen down here. But in those 4 fields, best way for you to see that is by looking at it here. So here, I have distance at the top again, but I have lap distance. And here, I have lap time. Also, there's a time metric there, but I want to see lap time now. And then I also have pace here, but instead of average pace, I have lap pace. And then I use a power meter on for my runs. And so I have lap power here. If I did not have a power meter, I would probably have heart rate there. Again, current heart rate is what I would put there again. You could also, if you're really working on technique or you don't have a heart rate monitor, I would probably have cadence there. Cadence would be another great metric just to know if you're keeping that cadence up, which is a good way to know whether your technique is on point. So if the cool thing about this is, and the reason I really recommend it is for any type of effort where you are going to have to hit lap on your watch, which is this button right here, to start an interval, all of these metrics are going to restart, or they're going to reset. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop out of here, and I'm going to go back, and we're going to do a workout here. And you can see my first screen: distance, timer, average pace, and heart rate. This is what I'm going to use for my steady workouts. And then my next screen is lap distance, lap time, lap pace, and then lap power. And then there's one other screen that's just my time of day. And so those are my 3 screens. So let's say I start a workout here. I'm going, battery's low. I'm going along, and this is going to keep going. So let's say I hit lap, okay? And it's going to give me my lap time, which is great. But other than that, all of this is not going to reset. So in the interval, I don't know if what pace I'm actually going for that interval. So now I jump down, and this is a screen I really want to be on. I want all of this to reset. So as I hit lap, I'm going along. This is gonna, it's still gonna show me what that lap was, but as it comes back up, notice lap time now has reset. So I know in that interval how long that interval has been. I know how far I've traveled, and I know what my pace is for that specific lap, and I know what my power is for that specific lap. And so this is super, super helpful. Now, one other thing I'll just say here, and let me go ahead and stop this. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to discard that. You might also know about the feature auto lap, and you can turn auto lap on or off. Now, if you're on a steady long run or recovery run, auto lap is a good thing to have because the watch will tell you what your laps are each, or what your interval pace was and your interval time is for that last lap, whatever distance you want to kind of put in there. But I recommend turning this off for any intervals that you're doing over a mile if you're doing speed work or some type of interval, because what you're going to find is that it's going to reset before you get to the end of your interval, and we don't want that. So if you're going into this, we're going to go into activity settings. We're going to go down to laps, and right now I have it set at manual only. If you do want auto lap turned on, you can hit it right here. It'll turn it on. You can choose what distance you want to have it lapping every mile. I like that a lot. Again, if I'm doing a long, steady run, it just lets me know every time I hit a mile marker and what my pace was. But if I'm doing 1.5 mile repeats, I don't want this on because it's going to reset at a mile, and I'm not going to know what my interval was for that whole 1.5 miles. So that's how I set up my watch. I hope that it's super helpful for you and that you are able to better utilize this amazing device. Hey, I hope you really enjoyed this video, found it super useful. If you did, take a moment to like the video, share it with some friends, and then follow us on our YouTube channel so that we can continue to deliver this great content for you every single week. Thanks so much.